implementation is part of neurointelligent processes. It's practically majority of this content of this activity is completely somatic, unconscious. Because majority of our aim setting and implementation abilities lives in our uh, physical mind, in something which is outside spiritual aspects, well, anything that we consider aware or self-aware. Nevertheless, making that self-aware or mm, in evolving, creating self-awareness ability during the process of implementation of neurointelligent activities, combined with developing communication and trust towards unconscious, physical, somatic mind, is gives increasing, growing, uh, increasingly efficient ability to function, to be potent in majority of situations which were either to um, considered limiting, um, victim victimizing, if there is no words like that. I need to have this correction that English is far from being my mother tongue. That's probably one of the disadvantages, but also can be considered advantage in creativeness in the area of language, because this is the way languages are changed through activities of those who feel the languages as something they learn consciously, so they enter that as a second, third, or fourth language, or uh, through activity of native speakers with uh, ability to analyze, to dissociate from their linguistic communication. So, apart from that, to be more or less efficient, to feel that we are participating in our life process, that we are involved in creation of situation environment we are in. It is good to understand that any goal we need to have implemented, any goal we wish to implement, consists of several aspects connected to our own ability to create the situation desired. They have to include our own potency, and they have to include our present situation, our present ability, and our present point of view, our present subjectivity. First of all, to understand where are we aiming, what are we want, what do we want to obtain, is it is necessary for us, I think, to uh, let's say release our ability to imagine how it would be to be in the place we want to be, to understand its ecology, which means understand the consequences of achievement, consequences of the goal achieved, consequences of the results gained. It also includes sensor simulation, internal simulation of the goal we have, and I think that also includes our own ability to create environments. We will be surprised, because if we dare to imagine the results being here and now as we have already obtained them, we could be surprised by our own ability to understand how We can create sensations, how much we already know how it would be or can be. That includes our ability to see things, see colors, see lights, see shades, feel sensations of any kind, like temperature, morbidity, um, humidity, movement, directions, and hear things like internal voices, external sounds, um, symbols, anything which you can connect to that, as well as well, it doesn't have to be precise when it comes to parameters, to technical parameters, because we will strive to obtain things which will be overdue, or practically they might be the things we will already cease to want when we obtain that, because takes quite a long time to obtain things which are connected to several logically written down technical parameters. It's more about how sensorically, how emotionally we feel when it happens. That is a connection to permanent freshness and evolution, flexibility of the idea of this goal in our life. And it helps us to be constantly up to date about how we want it, not just what we want it. The second step, which is very good to understand, is the step of reality of the resources we have right now. This goal setting itself is already needs to include realistic understanding what is already there to be the part of it. What kind of competences, behaviors, what kind of beliefs, what kind of identity ideas, what kind of practices we already do, which could be, can be, might be effective parts of the goal of the situation we want to happen. We want to stimulate to happen. Still, this also includes our present situation, our present understanding of such thing like reality. What is real now? What is seen as real today? So, what is realistic? What means not only things that we consider limitations, but if we find limitations, what we consider threats or limits in our today's environment, it's good to understand and good to ask ourselves, what's what is that makes that limitation. So we need to talk a little bit about how we see that and what this limitation is really communicating to us. So that is a major thing to start from understand uh, the background intention set behind the limitation, because any kind of limits which are dependent on from us, which are part of our abilities, which we consider being sometimes completely out of our control, are maybe somehow created by our own activities, by our own identity, own beliefs and values. So it's good to see that fact, good to verify that on this very process, to ask ourselves, what is the element that stops me and how do I make it happen if I do? And if so, I can talk to that, because if anything is out of me, if anything is my product, that means that it has the original primordial, pre-assumingly present intention, which, well, it's useful only when it's considered positive. If I consider myself self-destructive and I say, okay, so probably I'm my own worst enemy, that is the moment when I stop myself from achieving anything. I start to be auto-destructive and I start develop my self-hatred, which is practically the finest recipe to feel miserable all the time. So if you want to change anything, I need to look at my own limitation and the things I produce myself as something which has primordially mm, good intention for me. And that's the moment where I start to talk. How much I gain, what's my gain of the limits I receive? What's my expectation about those gains? And when I start to talk to that as my old friend who helped me in a situation when nobody wanted to help me, then I develop space for other solutions and might start to see that I can do something else than just that. And this is my reality, also about my resources, about the stuff I already have to change my situation. And it also gives me the picture what kind of changes I would like to avoid, which makes me sit here and make myself unable to see any kind of change and make myself unable to change anything. Well, when I see reality and am able to simulate all the feelings and sensations related to be on the spot in the goal, then it's good to analyze options, which means, first of all, of course, there is an idea, there is a belief that there is one perfect way to do things. There is also one correct, perfect way, the most refined, the most perfect, the most prepared, confirmed by the years and of lives of masters, which I should develop and follow if I want to achieve what I want to achieve. Well, that's the best way to limit myself from achieving anything, because if I just follow masters, then I achieve what masters want to achieve. So I need to see for the first, well, mainly, what's the role of any authority in my life? Is that stimulation to find my own way, or will be that my roof and limit of all things considered perfection, which I want to achieve, being as close to that as possible? So if I take first step, probably the first option I create will be the most typical one, considered the shortest way, which surprisingly isn't the shortest and isn't the simplest. It's just the most typical, typically associated with the shortest way that I can understand from A to B, from from the point I sit to the point I want to arrive. And well, that's I understand when I take the second option, which probably will be more strange, a little bit more sophisticated, or will be variant of the first one, some kind of modification. But still, this will be a technical proposition how to modify the first option and probably could constitute a variant of the first one as well. The third way will be the weirder variation probably of the first and the second one. The fourth one might include the idea about authorities and teachers. If really there is someone we could probably know, will be, well, not be a perfect one. It's not going to be a perfect person. It's not going to be an angel or a pattern of all virtues. Uh, it's better be an example of a practical achievement I want to implement in my life. And then again, not to become a copy of him or her, or but to in order to give me the most practical advice how to feel and behave towards myself, how to treat myself as my own means to achieve any kind of aim, any kind of goal I want. But specifically this one. So this includes anything that I could advise myself being this authority, feeling how to be one. And then fun begins, because the fifth option which is beyond my present imagination, beyond my habitual imagination, will be the first contact I make with the area of my real desires and needs, with my deepest identity, with something I really want to develop, with something I always wanted to express and be one with. And that's just the beginning, because that may connect me to the more options. But all those which means to be, well, they are completely unexpected. They will be surprisingly the closest one to the goal. They will represent the goal itself as a process of life, as a process of feeling this life. And when I unite all those options in the system, I see that I have choice of several ways to do this stuff. So it seems that I am not limited to any refined, any perfect solution. I have plenty of possibilities. And then it's time to make my own decision. What will I do first? What will be my first steps? How do I feel before? How will I feel after? What's my best idea about that? And well, first of all, how did my life change when I understood what kind of first steps I want to make? When I understood my commitment, how did it change my self image in my own eyes? And how do I feel about similar situations in the future? How easy it will be for me to make the plans like that. And then again, because neuroconsciousness is not just about linguistics, not just about decisions, not just about awareness, not just about conscious mind. It's hugely about unconscious mind. It's hugely about movement. So, how do I implement all those ideas about the process of aim setting in the everyday activity and in movement and breathing and using eyeballs in connection to my body? First of all, when I activate any kind of visual, audio, kinesthetic understanding of myself, of my life, and my place in it, my potency, I already implement my skeleton. I already implement my presence in my body. I already implement a huge amount of anchors which symbolize various types of potency and activate my unconscious mind to be as helpful as it's possible in the whole process of implementation, living, and enjoyment of the process and achievement and setting a new step, a new goal. And zooming out to see the widest picture, to see the bigger picture connected to what is seen as a pattern of my way of life enjoyment, of my identity, of my spiritual path, of everything which is related to the patterns and to the flexibility and evolutionary mechanism of those patterns I notice when I zoom out and observe many activities, many goals, many processes. After I make them, after I plan them, after I implement them on every level of neurological awareness, from environment to spirituality, or the other way around. Again, on every stage of that process, when I take care of staying within my physical comfort zone, inside my creative laziness, inside my body, listening to my body reactions, communicating with my movements, seeing in how many directions I can move, I can hear, I can see, I can breathe. That develops not only the quality of achieving aims, but also the quality and responsibility for happiness on every stage of my life, regardless this the moment I am in the process of implementation of any goal I set. So I am not happier when I achieve goal, and I am not less happy when I am in the beginning or in the middle of a process. The level of feelings are different, and the quality and quantity and type of feelings are different in different stages. But the sensation of happiness and fulfillment is equal, even though different in every stage of the process. And the habits which are uh, rooted, installed in this way, they seem to be less effort creating, so they are more effortless, they are more happy, joyful, or even if they are connected with heavy and quite sentimental reactions. Even though there could be tears, there could be anger, but still, if there is such a habit of easiness, there is also happiness, and there is also choice. It also reminds me of a quite interesting exercise, which is connected to developing my inner compass. We all know that traditionally in our culture we have left and right orientation. So we have also front and back and up and down. And many, well, it's so-called primitive, but of course it's a very elastic word. Cultures there is no such understanding like left and right. Usually, mm, they use uh, geographical uh, directions, which are strongly related to the very place they sit. South, east, north, west. Those directions are, or zenith and nadir, they are strictly directed to their understanding where and when they are. And the same goes about understanding which is how the past and present and future is understood and seen and perceived. But well, if we talk just about space, how to develop my inner compass and see how it influences my understanding and potency of choice creation, freedom creation, joy creation, which influences my potency during implementation of any goal I set. You can start by sitting down or lying down or standing in any point you are by noticing what's your position in relation to any geographical uh, directions in the world. So you can use compass in your telephone or just traditional compass for the first time to stand with your face east, west, south, or north, and start moving your breathing. Just the breath. Just start moving your breath towards the direction you choose. For example, north, south. You can breathe east. You can breathe west. You can see how your skeleton adapts to that. Then you can breathe southeast, southwest, northeast, northwest. And you can do that movement with any parts of your body you choose to be strategically initiative. Like you can breathe with your head, you can breathe with your chest in four major and four in- intermediate directions. You can use your shoulders and their movement as a representation of breath. Of course, the smaller movement you make, the stronger resonance of this movement will be, and that will also influence the whole nervous system more efficiently. You can breathe with your lower ribs, you can breathe in every direction. You can breathe with your pelvis, with your sit bones, with your hands, with your fingers, with your elbows. That influences huge amount of activities and potencies, like your space orientation, like your orientation in situation of threats, like your reflexes in aggressive self-defense related situations, like your ability to find the way, like your abilities to uh, plan and make decisions within specific space, time, circumstances, environments, and your old self image, and your sensation and ability to uh, share, divide your life into stages in order to um, feel balance in your life and comfort, like work, life, private balance, love and friendship, intimacy, non intimacy, official life and private life, secrets and honesty. All that needs to have balance in your life, which is constructed around your understanding of being balanced, your private balance center. And you can obtain that by understanding what is your understanding of the goal, what is your uh, present ability which makes that possible, what is your what are your possible geographical options which could be expressed and discovered by movement, breath, or imagination, and what is your first precise step? What will be the directions which you will go first when you stop contemplating options? What will be your first decision? And how you could be relaxed, present, and reversive, which means choice, freedom, noticing, choice, freedom, productive in that. For any further fun in that matter, please find me on my workshops and individual sessions, which will be implemented very soon in English as well. Because I mainly act in Poland, my activities, my teaching and training activities are already implemented in Polish language to the Polish speaking students. But any time you would like to improve your potency sensations and ability to access your resources in self uh, when you're self-reliable in your autonomic way, how to use yourself with bigger comfort, how to understand your life in a way which helps you to be a producer of your experiences and give you more space how to experience and how to use the experience you make. Find me on the contact information contained in my profile. Thank you.